Let's get to this whole concept of bringing targeting to the NFL, which is something that you were a proponent of right after the Cam Newton hits went down. You were on Twitter. You went on TV to say this. And my first thought is the targeting rule in college football is so flawed that we bring it to the NFL, people would lose their minds because it's either targeting or nothing, right? When you call targeting,
that's the whole issue in college is there's no in between. There's no in between. It's either targeting and you're out or it's nothing. So it's not like, for example, you've got running into the kicker and roughing the kicker. You used to have a 5-yard face mask, 15-yard face mask. Here there's no in between, and I think it's too vague, and I think it's hurt college football. But the intent to me is good, and we've talked about that a little bit. You know, I'm starting to believe when I see like the shots on Cam Newton, I'm starting to think that penalty yards and money don't deter enough. So the question can be, can you take a version of the targeting and say the flagrant type 1 targets like this, type 1 target, hit. Helmet to helmet, Brandon Marshall's hit, that type 1 where it's launch, helmet to helmet, make those type 1, let replay get involved, and eject. But it's also got to be not only for the game, it's got to be for at least a half of the next game, Mike, because we were discussing this on the air the other day when Ed Hockley took Tyrod Taylor out of the game, and I got some hits on Twitter, and I mentioned it to Marshall Falk and Michael Irvin and Steve Mariucci, who's on the player safety advisory board for the NFL, that if players can start figuring out I can knock out the number 1 quarterback at a crucial part of the game. If they do want to use this concussion protocol as a loophole, there needs to be an ejection deterrent, not only for the game, but also for the next one, too, to make sure that we're all buttoned up here. I think that's the key, that if it happens in the second half or happens at the end of the game, like Stewart's hit on Cam, you're out for the game and you're out for the second half. If it happens in the first half, okay, you're out for the first half, out for the entire second half. The college rule, remember now, that's the automatic ejection. But how many players do you have on a college roster? 80, 100.
Yeah, I know, right.
You know, you're talking about a 46-man roster in the NFL, so you lose one player, it makes a difference. And if it carries over to the next week, you know, and he's out for the first half, do you make him inactive for the whole game, or do you hold his spot?
No. Hold on a minute. Now you got to button up on that front, too. You cannot make him inactive. He must be an active member of your 46 the next week. So it is something that the team needs to be penalized, too, not just the player.
Once again,
you got to button it all up here.
Once again, you have convinced me that you're on top of this. You're absolutely right.
Well, but here's the issue, Mike Pereira. How can this be made to happen in the NFL? You knew that room, the owner's room, and also the coaches are in there too. Presidents are in there. The Players Association would probably need at least some players will chime in on this front. How possible can something like this be?
I think it's possible. I think, you know, if you look at it right now, I mean, look at the college targeting rule, and I mean, isn't it fair to say that the colleges really protect their players more than the NFL? Because of the fact that they have this rule. We don't like it because it's too vague, but, you know, I think you can do it if you truly, and I do believe, if you truly want to work on, you know, cutting these injuries down for head and neck injuries, concussions. I think you can do it. I think the message has worked because if you look at a game, like I look at a game, I now see many, many instances where defensive players would have taken shots and now they don't. I see many instances where they turn their head and lower the shoulder, but I'm still seeing too many that still they take the launch and the direct helmet and helmet shots like we saw on that Thursday night game. And I think the ultimate deterrent where the coaches and everybody are going to get involved is ejection. And you're minus a player, and I think it's possible. You know, if somebody proposes it, here's the deal. If somebody proposes it, the one thing that the ownership group at the meeting, very seldom do they reject a proposal that's player safety related.
Mike Pereira, thanks for coming on. Everybody go buy After Further Review right now in bookstores and online right now, and we'll see you on Fox, big and little. Okay, Mike?
You got it.
Thanks for coming in. That's Mike Pereira.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.